Lurking on pretty much every surface, in our industries, our hospitals, and yeah, even in our homes, there's this invisible force, a silent enemy that's waging a really costly war against us every single day. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden world and reveal an enemy that costs us trillions. Let's dive in.
So let me start with a question for you. What hidden force is responsible for $5 trillion in damages and costs across the globe every single year? Now, it's not war, it's not a natural disaster. Nope, it's something microscopic, and it is absolutely everywhere.
Just take a second to look at that number. $5 trillion. According to sources like the National Institutes of Health, that's the real, staggering scale of the problem we're talking about. It's kind of hard to even wrap your head around it. So, what is this enemy?
Well, it's time to unmask this $5 trillion menace. Let's name the culprit behind this absolutely colossal economic drain.
The culprit? It's biofilms. And honestly, the best way to picture them is as microscopic cities made of slime. See, they're not just some random bacteria floating around. Oh no, they are highly organized, incredibly resilient communities that literally build their own fortresses on surfaces all around us.
To get just a little more technical, a biofilm is a complex community of microorganisms. So they stick to a surface, and then they start creating this protective matrix all around themselves. You can think of it like a self-made shield or a gooey fortress. And it's that shield that makes them so unbelievably tough to get rid of.
So what are these slime cities actually made of? Let's put this hidden enemy under the microscope, shall we? We're going to dissect its anatomy to see exactly why it's such a tough opponent. Okay, so a biofilm really has three key parts. First, you've got the residents, the microorganisms themselves, bacteria, fungi, that sort of thing. Second, and this is the real game changer, they build that protective matrix. It's the shield they make out of sugars and proteins, and it forms an almost impenetrable fortress that physically blocks things like disinfectants and even antibiotics. And third, they trap water inside that fortress, which creates the perfect humid little microenvironment they need to just grow and thrive. All right, now that we know what they are, let's take a look at where they attack. And believe me, this isn't a single front war. Biofilms are causing massive damage across so many different sectors of our economy.
So check this out. What's really telling is how that $5 trillion cost breaks down. Healthcare gets slammed with the biggest hit at $1.5 trillion, but industry is right behind it at $1.2 trillion. And the damage doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. They also cause hundreds of billions in environmental costs and in water restoration alone. This is a truly widespread problem.
And this is where it gets personal. In healthcare, biofilms are an absolute nightmare. They form on things like medical devices and implants, and that leads to these persistent, hard-to-treat infections. We're talking $10.5 billion a year just from biofilm-related pneumonia, with billions more from surgical site infections and UTIs. So this isn't just about money, it's a serious, direct risk to people's health.
And the problem is just as bad in the industrial world. In factories and power plants, that same slime can slash energy efficiency by a staggering 50%. It clogs up pipes, it corrodes super expensive equipment, and it drives up maintenance costs. It can even contaminate products in the food and pharmaceutical industries, which, as you can imagine, leads to incredibly costly recalls.
Okay, to make this all a bit more real, let's zoom in on one single, complex battlefield: water damage restoration. This is an area where the fight against biofilms is just constant, and, as we're about to see, it's full of surprises. And here's where it gets really fascinating. There's a twist. While biofilms are usually the enemy, contaminating surfaces, trapping moisture, resisting all our cleaning efforts, sometimes they can actually be harnessed for good. Certain biofilms can be used for bioremediation, where they break down pollutants, or for biodegradation. They essentially help with a natural cleanup, which reduces the need for harsh chemicals. It's a classic double-edged sword. So all of this brings the fight right to our own front door, and it raises a pretty important question. Are you accidentally rolling out the welcome mat for these slime cities in your own home?
Well, the truth is, a lot of us are. Simple things like, infrequent cleaning, or letting moisture build up in a bathroom, or just forgetting to maintain your plumbing. All of these can create the absolute perfect breeding ground. Every damp, poorly cleaned corner is basically a potential construction site for a brand new biofilm metropolis.
But we are not defenseless here. Okay, we've defined the enemy, we've surveyed the battlefield, so now let's talk about the counteroffensive.
how do we actually fight back effectively against this $5 trillion problem?
Professionals, they use a methodical scientific strategy. It's a 5-step protocol. First, they assess the situation. Then they clean, using special agents to break down that protective fortress we talked about. After that, they disinfect to kill the microbes inside. Next up, they thoroughly dry everything to get rid of that crucial water component. And finally, they verify, using tests to make sure the biofilm is actually gone. It's a really precise, scientific operation, and it's designed to attack the biofilm at every single stage of its structure.
But the modern fight, it goes one step further. It's not just about cleaning up the current mess, it's about preventing it from ever coming back. And for that, there's a secret weapon. See, modern restoration chemicals can leave behind this invisible shield called a microfilm, and this leftover layer works on a few different fronts. It creates a physical barrier so new microbes can't even attach. It can release antimicrobial agents over time to fight off any invaders, and it even maintains a surface pH level that's hostile to biofilm growth. I mean, it is the definition of proactive defense.
So, the crucial point in all of this is, well, it's this. You can't fight what you can't see. Understanding this hidden world, from its structure to its weaknesses, is the absolute first step to getting any kind of control over its massive impact on our health and our economy.
Which leaves us with one final question to think about. Now that you've had a glimpse into this microscopic war being waged all around you, now that you can see the invisible, what are you going to change?